equally across the nation. And if they don't, they know there's going to be problems.
I'll tell you a funny infrastructure story in China. My friend bought this beachfront, oceanfront, 40-story high condo, 38th floor. He's happy. And he gets promised that, you have this view forever and nothing will be built in front of him. He goes back to the U.S. for 6 months, comes back, and there's another skyscraper built right in front of him. And he's really upset. So what does he do? He sells his condo, and then he moves into the skyscraper in front of him. But now he only gets the 12th floor, not the 38th floor. Okay? And then he goes to the U.S. back again for 6 months. And when he comes back, there's a highway right in front of his veranda being built, even though the mayor, supposedly promised that, nothing will be built. I mean, that's China.
Yes, over here.
Calvin Chin from Comerica Bank. How about clean tech or renewable technology investment opportunity in China and India, especially in China? I mean, they still burn a lot of coal, and Yangtze River is all polluted, and is government aware of the importance of this and strongly supporting this initiative? And what's the investment opportunity there?
On the surface, the government is very conscious and aware. For example, China has this 5-year plan every time the whole party members change, and in every province, it used to be in the last 5-year plan there was no environmental goals in the 5-year plan. In this 5-year plan, every province has an environmental target within the province. That's great, but people don't know how the government's really finally going to judge that. The use of coal I think 4x'd in the last 3 years in China, and now China used to be, if anything, an exporter of coal. Now they're a net importer of coal. And they changed that. I think it's this year they're going to be a net importer, and I think everybody can attest. You go there and you can't breathe. But the signs are that all the the green things and there's a solar panel company I think that recently went public, and doing quite well. And there's a lot of VCs who invested in wind power. There's many regions in China that has a lot of wind going through, and there's a lot of VC investment going into the wind power. And so I think clean tech investments are happening, and it's here to stay in China. But what's really interesting is most of the equipment in China for green stuff comes from Europe and Japan, because U.S. is actually so behind on those equipment. They're not buying from the States. And so there's actually more going on than's on the surface.
I would say, too, the central government views clean tech as strategically important, not just, obviously you have the environmental portion, but I think you also have the strategic reasons as well. And that, I think the central government is very aware of that. So, but it's a big country. Changing reliance on coal is hard and takes time. And honestly, I think there's some question about whether or not the technologies are really ready yet to scale to some of these things. They can take care of 5% or 10%, which obviously helps a lot and is meaningful. But there's a long way to go. So I think there's a whole other.
As an entrepreneur, if I learned chemistry and other fields, I didn't do IT, I would probably definitely go in that field. There's a tremendous amount of opportunity in China, and it's a real problem as everyone starts to recognize.
Can I make a comment here? Just coming back to infrastructure, it's intriguing. Private capital-driven infrastructure is very interesting, right? When central government isn't doing what they're supposed to do. Infosys is an example of that. If any of you have been to Bangalore, I'm sure some of you have. All the hotels were very far from the Infosys campus. And so what Infosys did about 2 years ago was they said, we're wasting a lot of time when we bring customers in and the senior execs in to Bangalore. They stay here, and we're over here, and it takes forever to get from here to there in the morning. So what they did was they took their campus and they said, we're going to build a hotel right here, 5-star hotel. All their customers stay there when they come, and the senior execs. One of my companies, smaller companies in the video search business, IPTV, they're in a part of Bangalore, and I visited them, and I was intrigued by the layout. It was a new development. And so I asked the CEO, I said, no, how is this laid out? And he said, oh, Pramod, this is very interesting. The developer that built this complex built it such that you have commercial buildings and residential buildings right next to each other. And he says, half our engineers stay here. It takes them 2 minutes to walk to office, right? So I think there's something to be said about private-driven solutions. It's almost like memory design, You can have CPU memory, access it very quickly, or you can have disk memory and you're just stuck up trying to access it. So it's very interesting how, private individuals and corporations are solving that problem. Now, it's not the answer. It's not a total answer, right? But it's intriguing how people are solving at least pieces of that problem.
So two other points. I mean, Infosys is really a university as much as it is an outsourcing because of all the training they
You're right,
do.
exactly.
Completely
they take people, they hire, they have a pipeline of people, they train them. It is a university.
Yeah,
it's just amazing. And then on the Chinese example, Huawei's headquarters in Shenzhen, they provide essentially subsidized food for their employees. They have dorms. A lot of Shenzhen, if you don't know the area, is essentially everybody's from somewhere else. I mean, Shenzhen was no city, 15, 20 years ago, right? And so everybody's from somewhere else, and a lot of the talent and the people are immigrated from the western regions or from other regions, so they have no families or anything like that. So all they do is work. They live in the in the company-provided dorms. They eat the breakfast, lunch, and dinner and very cheap and good meals there as well, and work from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. at night. And
your training center, university, some of the supply-demand imbalance on talent is actually mind-boggling. If you look at Infosys, they are supposed to hire 75,000 people this year. 75,000 people. Do you know the entire workforce of Microsoft is 60,000 people? IBM has 55,000 people in India. It's about the size of Microsoft just based.
Yeah.
But see, that's the demand for talent, and that's why you got this real demand-supply imbalance.
I think Ohio State is 75,000 people or something like that. So no, seriously. So you have an Ohio State as part of Infosys for postgraduate training. I mean, it's, the other point about the examples of whether it's Infosys or Huawei in Shenzhen is if you bring it more to a U.S. Silicon Valley competitive issue, there is some very real serious competition happening globally. And these people are dedicated. I mean, the people that work at these companies are smart, they're dedicated, and they're starting from not having anything. And when you don't have anything, you work really hard. I mean, as much as we built around here, which is we're enjoying the fruits of the success of the Valley, on the other side of the coin, it makes you less hungry. And that's seriously dangerous to be competitive in a global economy. I do not want to be sitting here, despite my investing in the U.S. and India, I don't want to be where I am in the U.S. and I think about competing with a European company and how easy that is. I don't want to be sitting here, thinking that I'm now the European company in a stagnant, economy competing against India and China. So I think that's about it for our talk. Thank you very much to our panelists. Please give a round of applause for them.
Well, thank you very much for moderating, and hopefully the panelists will stay to answer some questions. And as always, they don't do this for free. We do indeed give them T-shirts for speaking.